Toyota GR Cup North America returns to Virginia International Raceway for its 7th and 8th rounds of 2024 as part of its second season with SRO America. Race 1 on Saturday treated spectators to a thrilling battle with rain, sunshine, and changing conditions. And at the end of the 45-minute brawl, it was Spike Kohlbecker breaking through for his first win of the season. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer joined by Ash Vandelay for our second race of the weekend, round 8 of the championship. Ash, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much for having me. I love yapping, but nothing more than yapping about sports cars, especially the Toyota GR Cup race. This is going to be an incredible race as shown by race number 1 yesterday.
We had a thrilling fight. We had dry conditions, wet conditions, but not wet enough for wet weather tires. So it was drivers sliding around, battles everywhere, mud and spray. Pretty unbelievable battle that we got to see in the 45-minute race. Of course, this is our second race of the weekend, and we've set qualifying after this morning with our new starting lineup, with our 28-car field here for this event. And on the front row, it's Gresham Wagner back up on top in the number 5 for Copeland Motorsports alongside Spike Kohlbecker, who broke through to win his first of the season yesterday. Weston Workman and Ethan Goulart make up row number 2 with Max Hewitt and Jordan Rick-Segrini qualifying in row number 3. Row 4 and 7th, Zach Hollingshead in the number 51 and Mia Lovell in the 57. In 8th, Christian Weir in the 71 and Stephen Clemens in the 76 roll off in 10th. Tyler Wettingel starts 11th alongside Henry Drury in the number 88 with Jackson Bell and Braden Arthur in row number 7. Row 8 is Luke Rumberg in the 31. Jensen Sifronis, the 13-year-old, rolls off 16th place with Devin Anderson and Anna Inatsumi in the 75 in 18th. And in 19th place is Jade Avedizian, and he'll be alongside she'll be alongside Ford Koch in the number 21. Alex Sedgwick, in a great debut yesterday, rolls off 21st. Ethan Tovo, 22nd, with William Lambros and Casey Mashore in row 12. Alfonso Diaz and Matty Oust make up row 13. And starting in 27th, Jackson Tovo and Bennett Muldoon in row 14. The last couple of rows here, James Klimas in the 61 in 29th, and Jason Kos in the 3-car in 30th with Lucas Weisenberg. We'll tell you more about him in a moment. And Farron Davis in 32nd. Alex Garcia bringing up the rear of the field. So Ash, this morning in qualifying, some drama with the 46. Got a penalty for contact on the pit lane. Didn't serve it in time. Had the lap time deleted. He'll start at the tail.
However, some positivity here. We also had Jensen Sifronis improving on his qualifying from yesterday, up 11 positions. He qualified P27 yesterday, and now he is in P16.
Yeah, that's fantastic for Jensen Sifronis, a 13-year-old driver, learning a lot here this weekend, has a background in karting. Same thing with the Tovo brothers. We saw the 10 of Ethan Tovo have an incident in qualifying, but looks like the car should be repaired and ready to go racing here for our second race of the weekend.
Yeah, Stephen Clemens earned that hard charger award yesterday, getting 14 positions to bring it home 6. And as we mentioned, he's P10 now. So can he do it again? Well, not up 14, mathematically impossible, but it'd be great if he can get up there at P1.
I bet he'd like to do that if he could. And again, Tech Sport Racing broke through to get their first win of the season. The first non-Copeland Motorsports driver to do it was Spike Kohlbecker. He'll start alongside Gresham Wagner, and they had a thrilling fight here last year. So did Lucas Weisenberg, but Lucas will have to start from the tail, as I mentioned. So he'll be a fun one to watch carve through the field in that gear wrench number 46. Side by side here with the 47, a new driver to Tech Sport Racing, Ethan Goulart, a 15-year-old driver, starting inside the top 5 as we get into the VP acceleration zone. Field of over 30 cars set to go racing. Race 2 of Toyota GR Cup North America from VIR is underway, and Gresham Wagner and Spike Kohlbecker fire off towards turn 1, Ash.
As we fan out back again, 4 wide going into turn 1 here.
Yeah, there's a look from Mia Lovell in the background there, and here comes one of the RVA graphics cars in the background. Tight squeeze into this first corner, Ash. Challenging first corner, and as you mentioned, 3 and 4 wide, but singling out now, at least up at the very front.
I mean, that assertiveness needed to get those positions now before you lose anything, because you have 44 minutes. And do you want to fight, or do you want to get those positions now?
You want to try to get what you can now. Ethan Goulart to the inside of Weston Workman here for 3rd. This is an all-dry racetrack today. It was a mix of conditions yesterday, exceptionally challenging. Goulart will try to tuck in behind the 13, but here comes Max Hewitt, the BSI Racing car. Little contact there through Snake. Now they work their way through up under the bridge and towards the climbing S's. Gresham Wagner has been so dominant this season, and it's only been a few times that he has not found the top step of the podium, yesterday included. But he is off to a great start here. Side by side, Jackson Bell and Henry Drury muscling their way through the climbing S's. That was fantastic. I said yesterday, you can't do that. That's unbelievable.
Well, they did a little hipping and checking, but this is what we love about the Toyota GR Cup.
And you're full throttle through there. That 228 horsepower Boxer 4. You're in the throttle a lot. Jade Evanizian on the 34 of Braden Arthur here, side by side and up onto Madison Avenue.
As you mentioned, so much time on the throttle. You have to be on it and on the limit of those Continental tires, and they're putting on a heck of a show in the first couple of minutes of this race.
Yeah, trying to get the tires up to temperature, absolutely. A big slide will do that, maybe take them past optimal. Ethan Goulart now was door-to-door there with Jordan Rick-Segrini, who's in the BSI Racing Team car. And there's a 71 of Christian Weir right behind him. Everyone condenses and compresses into that braking zone for roller coaster. And Jackson Bell didn't get the qualifying effort he was hoping for, right now in 13th and moving his way forward.
I mean, we talk about VIR all the time. Difficult to get right, easy to get wrong, but when you get it, you get it. And you can tell that flow state. There's primarily 2 or 3 overtaking zones, as a lot of the circuit is a one-race street. You got going into Horseshoe, seeing some moves going into NASCAR Bend, that left hook out. But outside of that, maybe the only other opportunities, maybe going up into 10-14 in the roller coaster. It's narrow, and it's fast, and it's fun.
Absolutely. And there, you mentioned the passing opportunities. Those are the easy ones. You can make passes anywhere here in a GR Cup car, but they get a lot harder in some of those other corners. Look at this battle back here. Stephen Clemens. There's the 31 of Luke Rumberg and the 99 of Jackson Bell, almost touching there through that first corner, but it was a fierce fight inside the top 10 yesterday. Stephen Clemens was a part of that, and the battles continue here just outside the top 10.
We have Mia Lovell still in P8, trying to hang on to that highest finishing female award that she won yesterday as well.
Yeah, that was a really aggressive fight with Jade Evanizian, and they got their elbows out throwing punches yesterday in the middle of the race. I didn't know you could
bump draft a GR car, but yeah, we saw it.
Yeah, it was bump drafting with the sides of the car too at times. It was pretty aggressive, but now up through Snake again. And documented Jackson Bell and Copeland Motorsports team driver got his first win back at Circuit of the Americas Race 2. Was hoping to repeat some of that success here this weekend, but hasn't really been in the position to take home a victory. We'll see how much he can climb. Henry Drury in the 88 and Devin Anderson, part of that Tech Sport Racing team in their home event here this weekend.
And you mentioned we have 33 cars, our biggest grid to date.
Braden Arthur on the outside here. It's a tough move to make on the outside of Devin Anderson, who's got a lot of experience here in the back when they ran a similar car Tech Sport did in the touring car categories in previous years, and it's something that they've got a lot of experience with. Jordan Rick-Segrini now facing pressure from Christian Weir. They're the side-by-side cars in the left side of that shot, as Kohlbecker and Workman are now fighting for second.
Workman filling in that rear view mirror of Kohlbecker. He says, I am here and let me through. But Spike is not going to make it easy for him in that Tech Sport 55.
No, he's certainly not. And Gresham Wagner is pulling away, 0.6 of a second advantage. And this has been the story of the season, is the 5 of Gresham Wagner just driving away from everyone in qualifying and in the race. Weston Workman knows how hard it is to beat Gresham. He hasn't even done it yet, but he got real close at Sonoma before Gresham stole the win away from him in the final few laps of the event. Kohlbecker beat Gresham yesterday, but completely different conditions.
Yeah, you can't afford a fight because you're so close, as you just mentioned. So Weston's going to want to get around Spike, but of course, as we said, Spike's not going to want to let that happen. But he's losing time to Gresham here.
And there's a look at your championship standings as they are. Gresham Wagner, 178 points, won every event up until really the last 2. Didn't get full points at Race 2 in Circuit of the Americas or yesterday here at VIR, but Weston Workman's been extremely consistent, has been second in all those races except for those we just mentioned. And of course, Spike Kohlbecker up into 3rd in the championship, came into this weekend 4th, so he's leapfrogged Jackson Bell.
And we are midway through the season, so every point, every race, every position still counts, and they're going to work for it.
I mean, it's important to note that Gresham Wagner's got a large advantage, but it's not infallible, right? I mean, he has an advantage, but if someone else has a similar season towards the tail end, it could still wrestle it away. Max Hewitt, by the way, have a look at this, 2:07.543. He just ran the best lap of the race from 4th, and he's actually quickly closing on Weston Workman and Spike Kohlbecker.
I mean, we're highlighting the top 5, but their storylines up and around the grid. We have 24% of the grid is new racers into this Toyota GR Cup North America Series. So they're trying to gather that experience. They're trying to get that seat time. They're trying to manage expectations and keep their noses clean.
We just saw a couple of those new drivers in this mix. Casey Mashore chasing his car on corner exit, but the 41 of Jensen Safronis, that 13-year-old you mentioned, had a much better qualifying effort today. He's side by side with Jade Avedizian and battle for second. Weston Workman alongside Spike Kohlbecker, and that was a brave duel down into a challenging sequence. Here comes the 13 again. Down the hill here, nose to tail, and I bet you Max Hewitt's going to try to set them up to carry a run onto the front straightaway here, Ash, with that quick BSI racing car. Yeah,
Weston sticking in his nose here and there, trying to maybe psychologically see what he can do to Spike Kohlbecker, trying to get that pass and any advantages he can. But he's, again, Spike's not going to make it easy, and this is some great racing we love to see here.
It is, and they're losing a little bit of time to Gresham Wagner, 1.3 seconds back now. And maybe that's increasing Weston's desperation here to get this pass on Spike complete. A bit of what Darrell Waltrip would call co-opetition going on here if they could just get sorted out and work together. But we've also seen Gresham be able to do this as a one-man show up front.
And as you mentioned, Max Hewitt there in the BSI Racing 39 waiting just to take advantage of this fight. Where can he fit in here?
Yeah, I think, well, one car is off at turn one. I think that's the 41 of Jensen Safronis. And he already had some damage on the right rear of that car, so it's possible he was helped off course. Again, comes from a karting background, is here with his dad this weekend, James Safronis, who is obviously so well known in the SRO America paddock, and helping him kind of come to grips with this car. A challenging weekend. They had an issue on the test day and were able to repair the car and get it rolling in the race. And a much better qualifying effort here this morning, Ash, but now we'll have to rebound from that mistake.
Was able to get back on track pretty easily and was able to get back in the racing line cleanly, so things we love to see.
Jackson Bell, Stephen Clemens for 11th, the Endava 76, leading that Broadability 99, a big wiggle and a drop of the tires off course there at South Bend. And Henry Drury, PT Autosport, is setting up for a move here as well.
Can't hide mistakes in a GR86 at the speeds that they're going, so it's a great showmanship car, but you have to be nearly perfect.
Yeah, you can't hide your mistake with the throttle, right? And I think you get to some of the GT machineries, you can sort of compensate a slip and a slide here with your right foot, because the limit of the grip is, you know, it's more than the tire can handle at times. But look at the 71 and 47, two Tech Sport Racing teammates trading spots. Christian Weir a little wide there, though, and Goulart will drive around the outside. This is a battle for 5th spot between teammates. Nice clean battle there. And Mia Lovell looking behind, trying to set them up for a pass and trying to rekindle some of the magic she found at Sonoma Raceway earlier in the season.
Yeah, Mia Lovell had a tough start at COTA, but ably after summer break, working really hard, doing that heat training that she posts on social media, essentially a rowing machine in a sauna-like room. I mean, all that training really paying off with Copeland Motorsports and herself, and climbing up this grid now up to P7.
It's been hot here this weekend. That training will absolutely help. Let's see Jackson Bell go by Stephen Clemens there and tucks in. Clemens will try to cross him over, pulls overlap. Jackson Bell sliding on corner exit there. These two cars are still side by side heading into NASCAR Bend, which has been a big trouble spot this weekend at all the racing we've seen at VIR. And Henry Drury, the PT Autosport with Precision Racing LA team, right in behind. This is a great area of the racetrack for this GR Cup car. It's so well balanced, nearly 50-50 weight distribution. Got those Alcon brakes helping it slow down, those the shock absorbers that are custom to this car, some aerodynamics that are made by Toyota GR, all helping this car stick to the road and perform at its best along this 3.2-mile track.
And I'm sure a lot of people have noticed the roar of this GR86 Cup, and we love to hear it, and you know it's a GR86 Cup. You can't hide that sound. It's that custom Borla exhaust that allows for that better flow of gas. There's been 228 horsepower, 4-cylinder engine.
Yeah, it's a really unique sound that these cars have, and it's got a similar, you know, it's got a whine from the transmission as well, those straight cut gears from the ZF 6-speed sequential transmission. It's a really neat combination of noises, and when all the field accelerates together,
and there's 33 of them.
Makes a great sound in a big pack like that for sure. And there's that big pack, and here comes the battle for second again. Here comes Weston Workman late on the brakes into roller coaster, really late. Can he get the car slowed down? He cannot. Weston Workman runs wide. Kohlbecker back to second place. And here comes Max Hewitt as well, trying to jump on the Copeland Motorsports driver who struggled to get the car slowed. And Ash, that was just going in there really deep. You know, we felt the desperation rising. He just needed to get that pass done. an overcommitment into turn 14.
Yeah, fortune favors the bolt, though, from time to time. We see that in racing, people making moves like that and making it able to stick. However, he does have 34 minutes to regain that time, keep up, and we know he can get up there with Spike Kohlbecker. Maybe try that move again.
Yeah, the battle has left them further in the rear view of Gresham Wagner, though, 2.3 seconds behind Gresham, who last week was up racing in Canada in another one-make series and climbed out of the second race there when his car was up on its side in the tire bundles. He was really looking to have a better weekend here, and despite not winning yesterday, was still up in the mix. And I think would really like to return to victory lane and get things back around in his favor.
I mean, you mentioned the GRD6 is a little bit of aero, but their speeds definitely rely entirely on that mechanical grip, as we just saw Weston Workman putting that to the test. And thankfully, that GRD6 is just so comfortable, and the driver can control that so easily. So that gave us a heck of a show.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch these drivers handle these cars. Again, the part of the draw to this chassis from a consumer standpoint is the incredible balance it's got. And when you get them on these sticky Continental tires, it can be, you know, you fear when you get these really sticky cars or tires that you'll have a snappier sort of condition. But when you watch these drivers really drive these around at the limit of grip, they seem like they've got a progressive breakaway. You see drivers like Stephen Clemens yesterday in his battle with Lucas Weisenberg just hanging the car out sideways. It will tolerate that. That's not something you can really do when you've got more aerodynamics. It'll jump the air off the wing when you get sideways, but it's a great balance of engineering and technology in these cars. That it's an entry-level series in some ways, but the competition is anything but.
And that's why we love to keep emphasizing that 33-car entry here. It's just so exciting, and people want to be racing in here. And if you're watching from home or at the track, I mean, we're looking for that battle, of course, three-way battle for P2, but so many battles up and down the grid. Some would argue almost a five-way battle for P5. You're going for a three-way battle for P12, and all those positions count when all eyes are on you.
And how about all eyes on this battle? The 76 of Stephen Clemens and Henry Drury muscling each other door to door on the downhill roller coaster section, dropping a handful of stories to turn 17. They call this next one, the right-hander hog pen. And 76 is through, but just, and you see the left side driver mirror folded in on the 76. He's had some close quarters combat, huh? 22 of Devin Anderson also creeping into the mixture there. He's had a couple decent runs in this Toyota GR Cup Series this year. Home base for the team is here. 34, Braden Arthur is nursing some damage on the left rear, and Drury's going to get squeezed there. And more contact between the 22 and 88. And popped the cover off the mirror on the 88 that time.
That's a five-way battle for P12.
I mean, what an unbelievable battle. I mean, this is the beauty of it. You can have a battle for the lead, a battle for second, a fight for 12th. All over the racetrack, there's always someone to race. Drury going to try to snag it back from Anderson into left hook. Luke Rumberg there chasing the car across the road. I'd like to join this battle in P15.
How do you manage these battles, Kyle? How are you, if you're behind them, are you waiting for the advantages? Or are you just trying to get in there and to get away if they're holding you back up?
Well, we saw Max Hewitt doing something similar when Kohlbecker and Workman were fighting. There's often times when you can sit back and watch a battle play out and kind of pick off the weakest of the herd, right? So if anyone has a mistake or there's a slip or a slide, you're going to single off one gazelle and go take that one down and then the next one. Or the other thing you can do is wait for them all to make a mess and drive through the hole when they make it. It is a lot of fun to watch, and drivers kind of sizing that fight up. Often, I don't know if you want to really inject yourself right in the middle of it, because sometimes it can be safer just to let it play out.
And that's why I'm not in one, because I definitely would.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about, you know, opportunities, right? And then later in the race, you might force that to happen a bit more than you would early in the event. Spike Kohlbecker's lost second place to Weston Workman, so the 13 really struggled to get around Spike earlier, but he has completed that pass and move another Copeland Motorsports car up into the top two. Now, we've talked at length in past rounds about how successful Copeland Motorsports has been this season. Up until actually the tail end of Dakota, they had swept every single podium all the way through. This weekend, they've been good, but they haven't been the dominant form that we would typically see them. VAR yesterday, the rain, the great equalizer there, I feel. And today, even still, the Copeland cars spread out a bit more across the top 10.
Man, Tech Sport Racing had such a great race yesterday, and they're showing it again today. Spike Kohlbecker still on the tail of Weston Workman in a home race for them, as we've mentioned.
Yeah, they've got their facility no longer on site here, but they're very, very close to Virginia International Raceway. Still very much call it home. 76 of Stephen Clemens Now defending from the 22 of Devin Anderson, and this battle has not gone anywhere, has it? This is for 12th place. Anderson down the inside at NASCAR. Bend huge, slide on exit as he tries to wrestle that car under his control. And again, the 88 of Henry Drury, new to this championship this year. He comes from a figure skating background and was an Olympic hopeful in his younger years. Still is very young, but I think the best time for his skating career had long passed him, so he figured that auto racing was the next thing he wanted to give a go, and participated in some online championships and got a scholarship to give this opportunity a go.
Oh, that's incredible. It's something we'd love to see here mentioned. We have the Tech Sport, we have the Copeland Motorsports. We have the following teams, also BSI Racing. Something we'd love to mention is, excuse me, Anna Itsumatse was coming from Japan. This is her first international race overseas for her. So great to welcome her in here. She's a TCR champion, does Ferrari Challenge back in Japan, has podium twice in that race series. So, I mean, it's great to see her here given this chance as well.
Joining Hattori Motorsports here this weekend, as they've done that a couple times. We're going to go 3 wide on the backstretch up Madison Avenue. Why not? Ethan Goulart and Christian Weir, Tech Sports sandwich with Mia Lovell in the middle of it, and the 71 pulls through and clear. That was exciting for a bit there, Ash, on the backstretch.
I think Mia Lovell saw that happening. She said, wait a second, you know, I'm going to let you see, let you do this and see what happens, and I'm going to keep clear here, but I think she's going to take advantage of that. Yeah,
that she's going to size up these Tech Sport teammates. Big wiggle there from the 71, leaving turn 17, and that's when you see that there's an opportunity as a mistake ahead of you. She's got a couple of teammates in behind. The 51 of Zach Hollingshead, he's a new driver here this weekend as well for this Copeland Motorsports team. Tyler Wettengill has joined the club here as well. Jackson Bell is here in this group. It's about a 6 or 7 car battle for 5th place, and here comes Goulart up the inside of his teammate through turn 1.
No team orders in this racing. Mia Lovell sizing it up yet again, side by side.
Yeah, she's doing a great job here picking the pocket of these two as they battle for position. Here she comes. See if the 71 defends, picks the middle of the road, but Mia's being patient here. 27 minutes to go, still more than half the race left. No need to force it and draw a penalty.
Especially when getting pressure from behind, you want to make sure you're managing and defending, but also making sure you're on that offense to gain that time and get in those positions.
Yeah, we've got 7 cars in that group right now, trailed by Jordan Rick Segrini and the 18 BSI Racing car. See the new nose on that. It's got a different colored bumper than the rest of the car because of an incident in practice the other day. Went off and got into a rut and basically tore the whole front clip off the car. Had just replaced the radiator too, and they had to do another one because of that off-track excursion. And he's got a hole punch in the new bumper too, but at least they hadn't wrapped it yet, so they don't have to do the work all over again.
And a big shout out to our crews who work overnight and travel with these cars and travel with these teams week in and week out. Thank you so much to everyone, especially the track marshals, track volunteers. Motorsports is a team sport, and it definitely showcases here.
Absolutely, and you know, you have to feel for a lot of the teams, as you pointed out. Late nights last night. Remember how dirty and filthy all those cars were yesterday? Well, look at how clean and perfect they all look this morning. You have to imagine it probably took them a few hours to get all the dirt and mud and grass off those things. It was a mess out there.
I would like to note that Spike Colbecker in the 55 just flashed his headlights at Weston Workman. I know if you're a sim racer out there, you might find that a little contentious depending how you feel about it, but I love the little message being like, hey, I'm right behind you, just FYI.
Yeah, it's just a distraction tactic, right? It's a, you know, hello, I'm here, but you know, the drivers, as they gain their experience, that won't be much of a distraction, more of an annoyance, because it doesn't usually do anything, but it makes you feel better when you can click a button.
I fall for it all the time, so you know.
And Gresham Wagner leading by 3.8 seconds. He just ran a 2:07.6, which was a good bit faster than everybody else. Weston Workman and Spike Colbecker, 2nd and 3rd place there, still going at it. They've had a great fight. I think they would have liked this to be for the lead, because every time they spend side by side is more time they could have spent trying to pass the number 5 on their own, but they just don't seem to have the pace of Gresham Wagner today.
Well, you mentioned that you can't make any mistakes and you have to be perfect, and these cars show that, but there's also the mental acuity these drivers need to have, and as you move up towards your fields, I mean, you have someone filling up your rearview mirror, but you have to constantly be on the attack in the front. It's just you can't make any mistakes here.
See some lap traffic up the road for Gresham Wagner to navigate, and all it'll take is a couple cars that are a lap down to slow Gresham up. And Workman and Colbecker are still making pretty good lap time. Colbecker in particular was only 0.06 off of Wagner's speed.
You know those I Love New York shirts? I want the I Love Lapped Traffic shirts because it makes such good racing. And we're going to see how Western and Spike kind of navigate this lap traffic with their battle.
Well, it looks like Alex Garcia, who's in that 14 car up the road, has got the hazard lights on. And is that Mia Lovell? Is she dropping? No, that's looks like the 51, but it doesn't appear to be. Because I see her still scored 8th on the timing screen, so that's bizarre. Let's have a look at this replay. Here's the 24. This is the Nitro Motorsport. Oops, that's the 15 of Bennett Muldoon. And just got it wrong and went off course there at turn 3 and 4. Whoops. A couple other cars working their way by. No, it was the tails away shot that we were looking at. It actually was the trail of the 5. We were watching the leader go up towards turn 14.
Great reflexes by Jensen Sofronis there to avoid that back on track there.
Yeah, it's tough. You can't really see the exit of the corner. You head in there fast, full commitment, and then on exit, someone's clambering back on track after having an off moment. So nice work there by everybody to keep the race green. 23 minutes to go. And Workman's in full defense here on Spike Kohlbecker and Max Hewitt right behind Copeland, Tech Sport, and BSI Racing in this battle for second. 3 teams represented in the top 5 right now. And 4 in the top 10 with Nitro Motorsports' Tyler Wettengel running in P10. This is really the stage of the race where you're clicking off laps, trying to find some consistency. And for Gresham Wagner, that's exactly what he's doing. If you're in this fight for P2, it's a bit more racing each other versus racing the racetrack, as we sometimes like to say. But yesterday, the conditions were awful. It was just rain and mud and dirt and debris. I mean, it was such a challenging set of circumstances for those drivers, and half those cars came in with, fender clips unclipped and dents and dings and headlights broken, and it was just a really aggressive race, elbows out. And today, clear blue skies and a dry racetrack. It's been a different form today.
And when you're talking about those top 5, they're equally matched here. So you see Weston and Kohlbecker constantly trading spots. So maybe Kohlbecker's kind of just putting on the pressure, hoping Workman makes a bigger mistake to maybe be able to drive away and take that P2 and chase down Gresham Wagner. But this back and forth is really interesting. Maybe he's waiting for that patience.
This is a fantastic battle between Ethan Goulart and Christian Weir, both of them making their series debut here this weekend for Tech Sport Racing. And I think sometimes you race your teammates harder than you race the rest of the competitors, right? Who can have the top step at Tech Sport? Well, right now it's Spike Kohlbecker, but who's going to have step 2? And Goulart and Weir are still fighting very hard for that P5 spot.
It's incredible to see a 5-place battle for P5.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and it's only going to get better. And a lot of new young drivers in this mix. I mean, everyone in the top 10 is pretty young, but Zach Hollingshead in that 51 jumping into that car for the first time immediately in the top 10 in his first event, just like those Tech Sport guys in the 47 and 71. That's really a testament to these teams, how they can set up these young drivers that don't have a lot of experience even racing full-size cars. And in the span of a weekend, they've got them running top 5, top 10. That's just unbelievable.
And it's interesting to see the difference between qualifying pace and race pace. I know a lot of race fans talk about the lot through a multitude of series, but here in the GR Cup, Gresham Wagner, his qualifying time was a 2:05.3, and now he's running at 2:07.2. Got to navigate the traffic. Oh, as the 71 is side by side here.
Out of 51, not wasting any time. Hollingshead by Christian Weir.
Go to capitalize here.
Doors open, but here comes Jackson Bell on his teammate Mia Lovell, side by side, tight quarters here through NASCAR Bend. A little bit of a touch, maybe. If you couldn't slot a piece of paper between them, I bet how close that was, but Lovell will give up another spot to a teammate.
We love seeing the respectful racing, but we love seeing the competitiveness. Mia not giving him an inch, saying, I'm here too, and I deserve this racing line just as much as you.
Let's have a look at a replay. This is the Nitro Motorsports car, Jade Avedizian. Well, this is actually not Jade Avedizian. It was one of the other cars. There's a couple cars going off there. There's a 25, Alfonso Diaz from Tech Sport going for a spin. So that was odd to have 2 cars have separate incidents in the same corner. I don't. They were too far apart, I think, but maybe just both got it wrong. You can have target fixation. One car goes off track, you follow another one. It's very easy to do that, kind of get in your own head. Or if you just see dust and smoke up ahead from someone else spinning, it's easy to distract you. That's a place where you have to be full focus. It's a high commitment corner. If there's a spin or a slide or any kind of distraction, it can pull you out of the fight. You
mentioned target fixation. Excuse me. Would you mind explaining that for folks back home?
Yeah. So target fixation effectively is when you're looking at something, focusing on in this case, a car ahead, and then you're naturally inclined to follow them, even if you're not intending to. You're not hitting your marks, you're hitting the other car's marks. So if they miss it, you're going to miss it too. So a lot of times, you know, when coaches are teaching young drivers, it's all about look out your windshield, focus on your marks. And what they mean by that is if you've got a braking marker, you go to that marker, right? Now, don't watch the brake lights of the car ahead of you. You have to trust that those brake lights are going to come on when you expect them to. But if you follow them, if you're waiting for those brake lights to come on, think about, you ever done one of those delay tests on your phone to see how quickly you can press the button? Rarely are you under 2 or 3 tenths of a second. That's dozens of feet in a tenth of a second, right? So if you are delayed in that response to those brake lights, you're packing that car into the fence. So you have to be anticipating it, following your marks. That's what target fixation is all about. And the 51 splitting the tech sport teammates here. Zachary Hollingshead, again, this is his first weekend in this championship and making his debut with Copeland Motorsports, and this is a very impressive run, I have to say. I recall yesterday, I believe he had a spin or some issues, but today up into 6th place and moving forward still. A top 5 in your debut event, and we have to give a shout out to Ethan Goulart for also being in this position. You know, that's an incredibly challenging achievement to do in your first race, especially at a track like VIR. No pavement runoffs here. You have to be on the road, and especially yesterday. The grass was lava. You couldn't touch it. It was so slippery.
That means he's done the work, and Tech Sport Racing has prepped him and gave him the car to be able to crush it here now in P5.
Lucas Weisenberg is in the picture now at the trail of this shot. He's up to 13th place, and he started dead last. So that is a great climb for the 46. I know he'll be frustrated with the penalty this morning. He was inside the top 5 when he got that penalty and would have, I think, been a factor for this win today. But to finish or even be in 13th with a chance to still gain some spots, that's pretty unbelievable. So let's have another look at heading up the Madison Avenue straightaway. And actually, this is right here. Watch the 71. Big wiggle and drops a tire. Again, full commit to the throttle. You're just walking that car out to the edge of the road, chasing the steering. And no harm, no foul. He'll continue.
Maybe we can convince Toyota to do a GR86 dirt race.
I mean, I'm for it. And I think it's all part of the Toyota ladder system, right? This is all part of their global initiative to create a ladder for drivers that are running in Toyota competition. And Jade Avedizian in particular has a lot of dirt racing experience. And yesterday, I think she got to use some of it in the conditions we saw. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's I would pay to see that. So if anyone's listening, it's a dirt race. Let's head to Eldora with the GR Cup cars. Why not? Gresham Wagner extends his lead to 6.3. And the embers are still glowing in this fight for 2nd place.
Remember, Gresham Wagner is still making sure he's hitting his marks as the 22 side by side with the 46.
Lucas Weisenberg just passed all 3 of these cars in this shot since the last time we looked at him. He was trailing all 3 on the back straightaway.
Lucas Weisenberg took that penalty personally, and he's like, I'm going to make up and get all the way up there, because he did win this race last year, so he knows exactly what he needs to be doing. Yeah,
see Tyler Wettengel's left side driver mirror there folded forward, so that's not going to do him any good. He can't reach it too to fix it because it's folded the wrong direction. So hopefully he's got, you know, a spotter helping him out here. But again, to Lucas Weisenberg, you mentioned that he won a race here last year. It was race 1. Race 2 he had a collision and wasn't able to finish, but you know, I think the pace he has had this season, he's been right with the Copeland Motorsports cars, and it was contact with a Copeland Motorsports entry that triggered the penalty. Then they didn't serve it in the time that they were required to serve it. That's why they lost the lap times and had to start at the back. But this has been an exceptional drive forward for him up to 11th.
However, Lucas Weisenberg has to now pass Jordan Rixagrini, Jackson Bell, Mia Lovell, and Christian Ware, which are all so close to each other, and seeing if he can maybe get some couple more positions, or is he going to be stuck here as they're all battling for more spots?
Yeah, I mean, we've got 15 minutes left, and I think Weisenberg will at least get to Jordan Rixagrini. If he could get to that front group, though, I mean, Ethan Goulart's leading this. There is the mathematical potential for Weisenberg to get to 5th place. And, you know, the only run I can recall that's anything close to that, at least this season, was Gresham Wagner's run at COTA in, I think it was race 2. Had to replace some parts on that car, had to start at the rear, and he drove all the way back up, I believe, to 2nd place. So Weisenberg would be doing something pretty close to the same. Big piece of bodywork sitting there at turn 17, but it's just plastic, so we should just be able to leave it there. And Jackson Bell having a look at Mia Lovell here. Side by side between teammates. We've seen them side by side already a couple of times. This time the 99 will pull through and have the advantage. And Hollingshead on defense from Christian Weir in the 71. Pick the inside lane offline to try to hopefully dissuade the 71 from going in underneath him.
It's making it stick, though, because the 71 is not letting Hollingshead get away. He's like, I'm going to pass you right back. I'm going to answer your call.
Yeah, and Hollingshead was slipping and sliding a bit into NASCAR Bend.
And I do that all the time.
Chasing that car around. Gets a little greasy out there. It's been cooler today than it has been. It's Jordan Rick-Segrini, and there's Lucas Weisenberg. This is the car that started at the back of the field today. And you know what's great about this is, you know, all the dents and dings you see on the front of the car, I'm pretty sure are from race 1 yesterday. So he's done a nice job carving his way through. Doesn't have the opportunity to really close the gap with a full course yellow. He's just done this the old-fashioned way, just going quicker. And if you recall last year when he ran down Gresham Wagner, it was the same thing. Just his raw green flag pace is good enough to close up on the cars ahead. Now, I've noticed a warning for the 34 and 31, which is a violation of the sporting regulations. And see Jackson Bell sneak by Christian Weir there. I can't reference it immediately, but I think that's maybe in relation to the bump drafting rules. You're not allowed to hook and lock bumpers and push sort of NASCAR style. You can't do that here. That'd be the only way I would see 2 cars getting a warning together referencing one part of the rule book.
With Ethan Goulart still trying to size up Max Hewitt here. He's saying, hey, man, can you help me out here? They're not teammates, but Ethan Goulart wants to pass Max Hewitt, so he can leave Zachary Hollingshead, Christian Weir, and Jackson Bell, and me a level behind, because, again, this is almost a 5-way battle for P5.
Yeah, Goulart's the leading tech sport car. It's Christian Weir there that's the one sandwiched between the Copeland cars. He's got his work cut out for him. And I bet you that Goulart is not fond of the fact that Weir's lost a few spots, because he was kind of acting like a bit of a wall between himself and the Copeland crew that's chasing him down. But now with Hollingshead and Bell and Mia Level also quickly approaching, I'm feeling a bit more nervous if I'm Goulart if I don't have my wingman with me.
The 99 of Jackson Bell, trying to see where he can poke his nose here next to Zachary Hollingshead in that 51, trying to see where he can have the advantage and maybe keep the pass and make it stick. Meanwhile, Weston Workman and Spike Kohlbecker still just patiently waiting. Spike maybe waiting to make that move on P2 to make it stick and get away.
So just quickly referencing violation of the Sporting Reg 16.2, that's just the avoiding physical contact regulation. So the fairly standard, you know, this is not a contact series by design. You're not supposed to be pushing and shoving. So that's those two must have been leaning on each other, and the stewards told them to knock that off. Back up for second place, so Weston Workman and Spike Kohlbecker still nose to tail by about 2 car lengths. And at this point, Gresham Wagner's, unless there's a yellow or a mistake hit a big way, their focus is on being the front-running car in this 3-car group.
Yeah, for Gresham up there, right? He's not, some folks might be joking if you're watching from home, like, hey, like maybe he's just hanging out doing a Sunday drive. Not him.
No.
Not Gresham Wagner and Copeland Motorsport for sure, that number 5. He's making sure he's hitting his marks perfectly.
Yeah, Wagner has really experienced the full gamut of situations in GR Cup over the last year and a half. You know, it was a real threat for the championship title against Tyler Gonzalez last season. It started off with a poor round at Sonoma, but once he got the wheels turning on that program last year when he was running with Tech Sport, really things were going quite well for him. But the push started too late to really be a threat to Tyler. This season, he's sort of been in Tyler's position where he's been the one that everyone's been chasing. And if he leaves this weekend with another win, he's going to quickly corner Weston Workman and Jackson Bell into a mathematical impossibility for a championship this season.
And that's a statement you want to make if you're looking for rides, if you want to move up and through the ladder system, as you mentioned earlier. So Gresham Wagner definitely putting his name on it.
He's won 5 rounds so far. This would be his 6th, and there are 14 total. So very quickly approaching the stage where he's going to have this locked up. But down into turn 1. Copeland on Copeland fight here. Jackson Bell past Hollingshead. He's through into 6th place. And trouble for is at the 71. Christian Weir kind of off pace into turn 1 there, Ash. You saw it before I did.
Yeah, I noticed Lucas Weisenberg was trying to do maybe another double pass here.
Ooh, tight quarters between the 22 and 88. Henry Drury having to use all the runoff there. This battle for 12th spot, you pointed out Lucas Weisenberg moving his way forward. Now he is pushing up into top 10, I believe, or very close to it. He has now, as he got by Jordan Riggs-Segrini.
Lucas has a podium to get to.
Yes,
so
he does.
He's making that note.
Yeah, I don't know if he can get to the podium necessarily. I mean, it's totally possible that Workman, Kohlbecker, and Hewitt will get tangled up, but this is the battle I think he can really infiltrate here. So there's Mia Level, and then just behind that is Lucas Weisenberg. So you see him at the back of the shot there in the gear wrench car. So he's got a mathematical chance, I think, reasonably to get to 5th place.
Never say never in motorsports.
Never say never. That's why I said reasonably. It is true that he could win this race. It would probably be unreasonable to expect that he could.
I'll text race control, add some time on the clock so we see some more of this incredible racing here in Toyota GR Cup.
It's been a fun weekend for sure. Safety car, as we say that, the circumstances.
Never say never.
That this totally changes everything. With 9 minutes to go, we don't know what it's for just yet, and it sounds like there's been an incident somewhere else on course. So a safety car is out. And this is going to put us under full course yellow. And the 5 and the 13 are leading the way here. And with 8 minutes and 42 seconds to go, Ash, we are now under caution. So the pace car, the safety car, is going to pick up Gresham Wagner, who's leading this race. And should we get a restart, Ash, which may or may not happen, Weston Workman will be right there. And how close has Workman been so many times this season? Let me just read you back some of his results so far this season. Second. Oh, upside down is the 34 of Braden Arthur. He's out of the car.
He's out of the car.
That's great to see. Where is this on track? Is this up in the S's?
And shout out to our safety crew for getting there so quickly.
Yeah, on site there for the 34 of Braden Arthur. That is a big wreck in a fast area of the racetrack.
Wheels.
Yeah, there's been a big one over there for sure.
Luckily, out of the car, okay, getting checked out by our medical staff now.
Yeah, and great work there, as you mentioned, the medical crew was on site very quickly. They're stationed in a few areas around the facility to get to the cars as quickly as possible.
Yeah, safety teams really do make motorsports possible here, right? I mean, we see that through all series that we all watch, that we're all race fans of, so we got to give them their shout-outs because they also work full-time jobs. They're volunteer firefighters. They're also EMSs, EMTs, etc. So thank you guys so much for coming out here to the racetrack and making this possible and keeping our drivers safe.
So with full course yellows displayed here, Ash, you know, it's been fun to watch the battle. I mentioned the finishes that Weston Workman has had all seconds, save for the third that he had at COTA, and then I don't remember where he finished yesterday, but up in the mix. So certainly right on top of the front runner here. Gresham Wagner.
Yeah, and of course, a yellow is going to bunch the field up together, so any huge gaps that you've had is now kind of dwindled down.
So the 34 car is up on its lid, and that is in the climbing S's. Let's have a look at this. This is a big one here. Jade Avedizian in the 24 is chasing this car here up the hill, and is there a touch and a push there? And Arthur's going to get into the dirt and head straight for the Armco and up and over. And that's a fast area of the racetrack there, Ash. And that's a big hit. So looked like there might have been some contact from the 24 and just got him in that wiggle back and forth and went into the Armco.
And then once you're on the grass.
Yeah, once you're on the grass, again, it's still a little damp from yesterday. And, you know, the unfortunate piece to that is, you know, when he got to the wall, you know, there's a lot of impact zones that are covered by tire bundles around here, and they're strategically placed at the most likely places to have an incident so that they absorb that energy. But of course, you can't have tires everywhere, and honestly, tires aren't the best answer for a lot of places around the racetrack, so it's just unfortunate that where he landed was just into the Armco barrier. But it was great to see that Armco flex and move, and that's absorbing energy, maybe not to the extent that tires would, but again, it deflects, and that deflection is taking energy out of that system.
And
so
testament to Toyota and the GR86, of course.
Yeah, great safety systems on these cars as well. A roll cage they install. These cars roll off of a factory line in the production facility, where they are then taken to Toyota Racing Development's facility not far from here in Charlotte. And they're taken there, and they're fully kitted out with all the safety systems, the fire suppression, the roll cage, and all the go-fast bits, the suspension, the exhaust, and the wing, and all that. They do a really nice job with these cars, all built to an extremely high level of safety and performance, and you see it put to work there. But Ash, with 5 minutes to go, it's going to be challenging to get a restart, I fear, because the pace laps take over 3 minutes around here behind the GR86 safety car. So Gresham Wagner is in a pretty good position, I'd say.
Right, and we want to make sure the car gets off track. We want to make sure that our safety crew is off track and everything's clean and safe and ready to go. However, again, we might be finishing under this yellow flag, and that's just in case. I mean, in case something like that might happen again or someone goes off in that exact spot. We don't want that car still there. We don't want a crew still there. So we'd rather finish under yellow and make sure everything's all good and safe, because safety is the name of the game.
You also got to give the track an opportunity to take a look at that barrier as well.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, to your point, right, make sure that it's good for another impact. But, you know, again, the other thing is race control has not been fond of one-lap shootouts here in this series, and feel that it generates a level of chaos that really doesn't do anyone any good. So, you know, I think there's some smart decisions being made, you know, up in the tower. And for all the drivers here, what a great race that we saw up until this point. An excellent battle for second, third, and fourth, and Ethan Goulart holding it down in fifth spot.
I mean, yeah, for the drivers in the series, they've been doing so well. Race number 1 was quite a show with the unpredictable weather, raining in some parts of the track, dry in others, and now at this beautiful sunny day with the track temperatures getting up and such like that, and we know how that affects the racing. So seeing this all play out in race number 2 in different conditions has been so interesting and so fun for those multiple 3, 5, 6-way battles for different positions.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. And Ash, you know, the next round on our calendar is going to be fun as well. That we head to Road America, the National Park of Speed, and cheese curds and brat eggers and all the fun foods that they've got there up in Wisconsin. And you know, it's a really fun racetrack for these kinds of cars, because again, it's all about, you know, the handling of this car. But Road America is a power track in some places, right? So you get a lot more of the drafting, the slingshots, that sort of thing. It was thrilling last year. I expect it to be. Of course, after that, Barber Motorsports Park towards the end of the year in September. That's a relatively new facility on the calendar for us, and a place that the Toyota GR Cup cars have never been before. So that's very exciting as well. And as we head towards Indianapolis, where the championship will come to a close, Gresham Wagner, currently the driver in the best position of anyone to take home that championship trophy. I think this would be redemption for him, because he was so strong last year.
Yeah, absolutely strong. And it's, again, making his mark, putting his stamp on it. And he was over a little over, close to 7 seconds lead on P2.
Yeah, and of course, Weston Workman doing all that he can. And, you know, he and Gresham have raced very cleanly and nicely together.
And the battle between Workman and Kohlbecker has been so fun to see.
And just last year, right, I mean, we documented the Lucas Weisenberg and Kohlbecker and Wagner fight that happened last year. It seems like the little 3-car breakaways are really the sweet spot as far as how fun the fights get. We saw some 3 wide on the backstretch earlier with Mia Lovell in between Goulart and the 71 of Christian Weir. By the way, that 71 is now scored 11th, so things are slipping a bit for him. And there's the 34 getting turned back over. Great work there by the recovery crews. But see the windshield taking some damage there as well. So they'll take that back to the shop and see what can be done and what can't. But again, great work there by the recovery crews. And this time through, with the lights still on the safety car, I'd expect with about 1 minute and 45 seconds that we'll get the white flag displayed alongside the yellow flags.
I mean, you mentioned Road America is next, Barber Motorsport Park, and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And if you're available to go to any of those races, just check out the calendar. We'd love to have you. And Toyota has a great fan activation down here. So many cars on display. You can see a GR86. There's a dummy sitting in there, which I thought was a real person when I looked into the mirror, and it kind of scared myself. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I apologize to nobody. But it is a great, and they have merch and they have sims. So if you want to put some lap times down and see how you compete against our drivers, you can do that too.
Yeah, that's a really cool activation that Toyota does at each and every SRO America round, Ash, and it's a great thing to point out, is that, you know, they've also brought out a power generator unit that runs off of the same hydrogen system that powers the Toyota Mirai. They use that to partially power that activation a couple of rounds earlier this year at Sonoma and out at Sebring International Raceway. It's a really cool thing that they do. You mentioned the simulator. You can jump on it, give it a go. And honestly, yesterday we had really crazy challenging conditions, and it made me think back to the Toyota GR Cup esports race that we had last weekend, that we gave the Rain and iRacing a go for the first time in that championship. And I think a lot of the drivers that competed in both races, Henry Drury was one of them, they learned a lot in the simulator that they could apply to the race yesterday. And today, not so much rain, but the off-track areas have still been slick.
I mean, Calvin mentioned that too, that simulator work, you want to make sure you're putting in the lap times. It's not only, of course, learning the car, learning your brake markers, but like learning about the track is also half the battle for a lot of these new drivers who've never been here before, and they don't know it. They're not too familiar with what's going on.
Yeah, and again, I think, you know, especially for those young drivers, as you pointed out, some 13 and 14-year-old drivers that haven't even had the opportunity to run in a lot of grassroots road racing series because there's age limits on that. Now they can get waivers here to, if they're approved, and then all the stewards will go and watch them run an event and make sure that they're okay to compete. But there's kids coming in with just karting experience, hopping into these cars and performing at a very high level. And Ethan Goulart, P5 in the 47 car, comes from a background of running spec racers, which is a fairly popular single make category. And there's racecraft that you can learn in classes like that apply directly to another single make series. It's just, you know, it's a different tool, but you're still slicing bread, right? So
I mean, this GR Cup designed to celebrate the car culture, motorsports by enthusiasts, for enthusiasts. I mean, this is my favorite series. If I'm allowed to pick one for the weekend, I just love watching Toyota GR Cup. These drivers have something to prove. They want to put that passion in. You can see it. These teams want to show what their drivers and what they're capable of, and we love to watch it.
I think it's a great series that capitalizes on the spectacular chassis that Toyota has developed with another manufacturer to bring this car to the market. And of course I've subscribed to it myself, and I think there's a lot of drivers that are going to learn a lot. It's a great way to learn the front engine rear drive platform. Great balance, great performance, and the competition that is held here with Toyota GR Cup North America is just unbelievable, and they do a fantastic job. But this number 5 Copeland Motorsports car behind the glowing amber safety car lights, it has been an exceptional season for Gresham Wagner here in the number 5, coming off of a runner-up in the championship. Actually, might have been a third in the championship last season for Gresham, but either way, comes to the start-finish line, and this will be his 6th win on the season. It was just a 2-race stretch where he wasn't on top, but Gresham Wagner in Toyota GR Cup North America, race number 2 at VIR, is your winner over Weston Workman and Spike Kohlbecker. Max Hewitt, Ethan Goulart, the rest of your top 5. Great runs there by some new drivers: Goulart, Hollingshead, Christian Weir, Alex Sedgwick, another top 15 after he had an exceptional drive yesterday in the Precision Racing LA 44 Segra car. But the cool down lap will be behind the safety car as well, Ash, but hopefully we'll talk to Gresham. And you know, he's a pretty clinical driver, and I think he takes this extremely seriously. And you know, we've talked to him in the past, and you know, sometimes he doesn't look that excited, but I promise you he is focused on winning this championship.
Yeah, a lot of your focus has to be on the driving, has to be on the racing. There are time for hobbies, and of course you can sim race to use it as a tool and maybe as a little bit of relief, but these teams and these drivers are putting in time day in and day out. I mean, we mentioned there was that quote-unquote summer break, but there was no break for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, certainly no break, and we'll talk more about Gresham here in a moment's time, but let's have a look at the race results here for Toyota GR Cup North America as we get set here for the tail end of the event. Here's a look: Gresham Wagner, Weston Workman, Spike Kohlbecker, Max Hewitt, and Ethan Goulart, your top 5. And a really fun battle between Workman, Kohlbecker, and Hewitt that we never really got to see play all the way out, Ash. But Jackson Bell up to 6th after starting pretty deep in the field. Zach Hollingshead, first weekend here in GR Cup, top 10.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, certainly not. Mia Lovell in P8, Lucas Weisenberg, Jordan Rick-Zagrini, the rest of your top 10. Christian Weir slipped a bit late in the going there. Devin Anderson up to 12th place in the tail end of the day. Henry Drury in the 88. Couple Precision Racing LA teammates nose to tail there in 13th and 14th with Luke Rumberg, Jade Avedizian, Ford Koch, and Casey Mashort, Jensen Safronis, and Bennett Muldoon rounding out your top 20. And Inotsume making her first global start after being TCR champion in Japan last year. Finished 21st. Tyler Wettengel, Matty Oust, Jason Kos, and 14-year-old Jackson and Ethan Tovo, 25th and 26th. Farron Davis, James Klimas, Alfonso Diaz in 27th through 28th. Of course, Braden Arthur in 30th. He was the car upside down there, okay, climbing out. William Lambro, Stephen Clemens, and Alex Garcia rounding out the rest of your 33-car field.
And with that P8 for Mia Lovell, she sweeps the highest finishing female award for this weekend.
Yeah, $5,000 bonus in each race this weekend, so that will certainly assist her program moving forward. And you know, going back to Gresham, you know, I talked with him on an SRO Pit Pass show as we have a look at the standings, and you know, this is all that he does in between races. He doesn't do much else. He's always focused on it, and here's how it's paying off: 178 points over Weston Workman, 135. Then Kohlbecker at 117. Jackson Bell at 113. If anybody wants to launch an assault on Wagner's advantage, they have to start at Road America. Stephen Clemens, Lucas Weisenberg, P5 and 6 there. But that was a great fight to watch there as Wagner extends his championship advantage. And a great show for Gresham Wagner.
And if you enjoyed the racing, I mean, stay tuned for Road America. I mean, this is how it is every single time we watch Toyota GR Cup.
Let's have a look at the highlights from Toyota GR Cup race number 2. Began race 2 in Toyota GR Cup North America on this side-by-side here down here towards turn 1. And it was Gresham Wagner and Spike Kohlbecker early on battling for the lead with Weston Workman fighting his way by Ethan Goulart in a frantic opening moment here. The 47 and 38 or 39 car also battling. There's a big wiggle there from the 88 and 99 as they battled up through the S's side-by-side. Jackson Bell was on it today, battling Rumberg and others in his charge forward. Just behind him, there was Henry Drury, all part of the battle. Just up the road, see Stephen Clemens there fighting as well. Copeland Motorsports in the mix of things. There's Stephen Clemens again as they battled back and forth inside the top 10. Then Tech Sport Racing went for a scrap and brawl. 47 and 71 trading spots. Goulart and Weir having a great fight. Up through the S's again, Rumberg, and then the 34, Braden Arthur, gets tripped around by Jade Evadizian into the Armco and upside down, which brought out a full course yellow. That would then put us under caution for the remainder of this second race. Gresham Wagner in the number 5 for Copeland Motorsports got the job done here and gets back to winning form here at VIR. There's Gresham Wagner climbing out of the car and celebrating again. Back up on top.
It's going to be the iRacing pose.
Yeah, I mean, where, you know, we were wondering where I was, not far back and in position to grab another victory here. See hugs from the Copeland Motorsport team. Well, we saw him sign on with this team over the winter. I think everyone knew that this was going to be a hard combo to beat, but wasn't in victory lane in race 2 at COTA or race 1 at VIR, but every other victory this season has been Gresham Wagner's. And it is his 6th of the season.
Copeland Motorsport and Tech Sport Racing, an incredible job this weekend. Both teams something to celebrate, but knowing them, right back tomorrow, focusing on Road America.
Yeah, Gresham popping out of the car here. And going to take a deep breath, get the hat on. And get the Continental band there as well. But winner Gresham Wagner is standing by with Amanda Busick in his 6th win of the season, Amanda.
Gresham, we love the pulse for the celebration there as you climbed out of this Supra. 6 wins. You're back to the place that is familiar to yourself with a sizable lead in this championship. What have you figured out about this Supra?
Well, I wouldn't say that I figured out. I just kept doing what I was doing last year, but Copeland just gave me an amazing car from the start of the year. You know, we've had a little bit of bad luck the last 2 races. I didn't have the best qualifying yesterday, and the conditions were a bit tough, but I knew as soon as it dried up, all the hard work they put into this car, you know, Dean and Kevin, and then my car chief, Ethan, they just worked so hard to give me the tools to do this. So super happy to get the win and looking forward to the next event.
To the correction on the GR86, when you look at this platform here at VIR, what makes it sing around this place?
I mean, it's a really flowing rhythm-based track. You know, you've got South Bend and Oak Tree, which are 2 completely different corners, but great in their own right. And so when you've got a track that can chain together, you know, corners like that back to back, it's going to make a great race.
Congratulations to Gresham.
Gresham Wagner back on top here in Toyota GR Cup North America. A thrilling round here at Virginia International Raceway. We look forward and ahead to our next round at Road America, America's National Park of Speed, for rounds 9 and 10 of the 2024 championship.